On the first chapter of Verses, we met the Demon King and the 47 heroes remaining in the world sent around to try and fight the Demon Kings and ultimately all dying. We met the hero, Hollow, using the Sword of Courage, who attacked the Demon King Jachi fearlessly and courageously, but his arm was split off, his teammates killed, and he barely survived with his life. Now, with little hope remaining, a group of human mages cast a summoning circle on the entire Earth in order to bring in a new dimension of fighters. These Halo-esque type soldiers come in and are able to use their weaponry to blast the demons with ease, leaving Hollow and company in complete awe at their strength. But while Hollow and his crew think that this is salvation, the Tomorrow World people from another dimension are actually asking for the help of Hollow and his friends, because their world is also being decimated. So in both dimensions, there are very few humans left, and in both dimensions, the world is completely overrun by mega powerful opponents. And in chapter 2, we find out what is killing off the Tomorrow World Halo soldiers. That's coming up right after this message from our sponsor. A couple years ago, my family was in a terrifying car crash that almost cost the life of my wife and daughter. So listen up, because I really wish we knew what we were entitled to. In 2020, there was over 5 million car crashes, which is roughly 600 an hour. And if you're involved in a car accident, you're entitled to more than you think. And that's why I've partnered with Morgan & Morgan for today's video. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm with over 800 lawyers and 100 offices nationwide. And the best part about Morgan & Morgan is they're completely free unless they win your case. They won't charge you anything unless they get you money. Over 3 million people trust Morgan & Morgan, and getting started is easy. Check out the link in the comment section for more information. And it turns out to be a sentient AI which invades the current world. And what ends up happening is the demons from Hollow's world start to engage with the AI from Kayla's world. And so what One Punch Man Author 1 is giving us here is not the Tomorrow World story. Instead, it's more of like this war among multiverses, where it appears that in each parallel universe to Hollow's, there is an equal world that has very few humans left. The humans all seem to have some sort of superpower, whether it's magic or weaponry or quirks. And at the end of the chapter, we see the final stronghold of humanity. It appears that the magic summoning circle around Earth has basically sucked in all of the parallel universes, all of the humans that are remaining, which is not many, and potentially all of the enemies, which can be overwhelmingly crazy. And so in a twist of events, all of these humans that were summoned to come help Hollow and the rest of humanity are also on the run from some ridiculous high-level threat of impossible to beat enemies. And we're gonna get to see how the humans from the different dimensions, their attacks like spells and weaponry, kind of help and work against these various opponents. For example, the soldiers' guns don't work on the AI, but the wizard's magic does, at least briefly, until the AI is able to adapt to it. And so my question is, where does this story go exactly? Because if there's all of these parallel universes of hordes of super powerful enemies, the only which we've seen so far is Demon Kings and AI, it's going to be impossible for the humans to fight back in such small numbers, even if their powers kind of help each other against the opposite foe. So it appears that the humans are more so just going to be trying to survive as these mega powerful hordes of various enemies take each other out. We know that humans can't beat the Demon Kings, but maybe the AI can. And if there's this much variety of humans, as we saw from the last picture of the last human stronghold in existence, that means we should get something like at least 10 different armies of mega powerful enemies, and they're all going to be taking each other out while the humans are hiding under a rock just trying to survive. So my question is, what is the role of the humans? I mean, they can barely fight back even against the weakest of opponents at this point. So what part are they going to play in this all-out multiversal war besides sitting on the sidelines watching and giving the audience commentary on what exactly is happening? I think it's also evident from this chapter that Hollow, the main character, while in the first chapter seemed relatively weak and cowardice, definitely has a heart of bravery, and somehow this is going to turn into his story. We got a brief image here in this chapter of how his broken sword of courage began to extend and became almost like a lightsaber, emanating radiant energy based on his courage at that moment. So there's some sort of legendary hero deep within this character of Hollow, although you can't really see it now too much. We're starting to get some more hints of it. and somehow he's going to fight through hordes of impossibly powerful armies to rescue all of these worlds at the same time. Very curious to see how 1 gets us there. Now, also interestingly, Zabi, this friend of Hollow's who's a sorcerer, he asks Kayla, you guys are the people we summoned from the magic summoning circle, right? And she says, no, you guys came through our interdimensional gateway that we created. So it appears that every single universe has activated some sort of parallel dimensional portal all at the same time as well. I'm not 100% sure how or why this is going to play into the story. I mean, I think the summoning circle would have been fine, but somehow at the same point, each parallel universe opened a dimensional gateway at the same time. So all of the worlds are fusing into one. And when the AI robots from Kayla's world attack, you can already tell that they're going to be a ridiculous threat, because not only are they immune to the guns, the spells didn't hold them off for long, and they're able to go up and fight against demons. But most importantly, they, as Kayla explains, they can be mass produced. And we know that there's only 47 Demon Kings, so if this AI, which can adapt and grow stronger as it fights, dies to the Demon Kings, they have factories where they can rebuild and keep fighting. Essentially, the AI seems nearly impossible to stop. And while Zabi and Kayla believe that the scientific tools can work against non-scientific matter, i.e. guns work against demons, and non-scientific tools like spells can work against scientific matter like the AI, I don't think that this is actually the solution. While it appears that 1 is leading us in that direction, there's just far too many opponents, and the humans are far too weak to be able to eradicate even one of these parallel dimension opponents. And that's why I think they're going to have to play some role in turning these factions against each other and simply just watching from the sidelines. Now we get introduced to a new demon captain. His name is Kiva, and he is the captain of the army for Jachi, the main Demon King we saw in the first chapter. He ends up battling against one of the robots, and interestingly enough, they're able to damage each other. The robot is able to blow off one of his arms, and he's able to pierce the robot before they both ultimately transform into their final state, and we don't get to see what happens after that. But to me, what this means is, scientific or non-scientific, the enemies of each world are able to kill each other fairly easily. And while these two titans are fighting each other, the sorcerers are able to cast a mass circle of flying so that they can all just like fly away and escape to this castle, the last stronghold of humanity. I'm assuming in the next chapter we're going to learn about the other parallel world, about what kind of powers they have. You can see these guys look like superheroes, like from the Incredibles or Fantastic Four or something. And I'm sure in those conversations we'll learn about what kind of opponents they're running from as well. And so what this manga is going to be is an all-out multiversal war on the same planet between just about every threat, every fantasy, every medieval, every superhero sort of story and characters you could ever think of are all going to be battling against each other. And what I'm really curious about, again, is what is Hollow? Like, how is he going to become the savior? How is he going to get strong enough? I mean, there's definitely some sort of power in him. This panel is just freaking badass and awesome. There's definitely something in him that's going to make him the hero, but he can't really kill, a weak demon or an AI robot by himself yet. And he's missing an arm and his sword is broken. So what kind of power up is he going to get? What's going to be the lore and the story there? I'm very curious to see. I actually really like how One has written this because the stakes are so high after only 2 chapters. We already have so many characters. The plot is laid out. And now we're just left with a bunch of questions and sitting on our hands waiting for answers. I mean, One really is the GOAT for only 2 chapters. Granted, they are extremely long. He was able to develop just such a clear and easy to understand story with incredibly high stakes with just 2 chapters. It's actually incredible, and I can't wait to see more. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you for Versus Chapter 3.